Good morning. I'm at work already. So last night was the first night in our new house. And that's exciting. And it's super close for me to get to work. Even better. I stopped into the office there. Nobody's around. Phil's getting ready to leave. Truck. Unfortunately, even though I have this super short commute to work today, I'll have to go back to our old house. We seem to have misplaced a very, very important garbage bag that is full of Brayson's blankies and pillows. And I don't think we left it at the old house, but I can't find it in the new one anywhere. And we did not get everything out. We're still in the process of moving, so we got to go back and see if I can find that. And the only reason that I have to go right now is because today also happens to be trash day. And if somehow that bag got thrown into our garbage bin and is by the curb and the garbage guy comes and picks it up, I will never hear the end of it. So we're going to go find it right now. Well, good news. Bag in question is not in the trash can. Bad news is I don't know where it is. All right, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing most of the day today. I've got stuff to do at the house yet, but we got to keep moving in here. So, however, Brock's here.
Hi.
And so he is going to start working on changing hydraulic oil in this tractor. We got our high guard delivery yesterday. It's up there in that shuttle that is now half full or more. So we've got the oil that we need, which means we can drop it out of this tractor and start changing it. This tractor has a whole lot of hydraulic oil in it. Like, I think it said the capacity on the whole system is 70 gallons. Now, whether we get 70 gallons out or not, I don't know, but it's going to be a lot. So, we're going to read the book, figure out how to start doing that. I'm sure that there are probably 3, 4, 5 different places that you actually have to drain the oil out of. There are 4 hydraulic oil filters on this tractor that all have to get changed. There are 2 fuel filters that have to get changed, which we do have now, so that can be done. And then we've got to figure out how to put all that oil and stuff back in. We also have to change the sight gauge on the side over there. I'll show you that in a second, but that's your project.
They're done.
So, you see this sight gauge right here? This, well, it sort of turns. Not real well, but anyway, there are markings on that. You can kind of see on this side right here that are to tell you like where the level should be and everything and stuff. It gets so cloudy and stuff just from, I don't know, from being outside or the oil in it or whatever. And so the last time I changed hydraulic oil, I rotated it and I made my own marks so that I knew what they were, but now I can't rotate it anymore. So we've got a new one. So you can see there it says hot, full, cold, full, minimum, cold. Do not start if it's below that line. So we got to take this side panel off anyway to get in there to a fill cap. And so when we get that off, we're gonna put that new sight gauge on there as well. Look at him filming, doing a good job, Brock. You're doing a good job.
So I'm here underneath the tractor. I'll show you where I am. Right underneath the cap here. As Nathan said, there's a drain plug for the reservoir right up there. That tank right above the hose there is the reservoir. What's nice about this is it's not just a drain plug, it has a valve on it. So I don't have to get 8 buckets out and just spill all over the floor when I'm switching buckets. I can shut this off and then fill 3 buckets up, take them, dump them in the tote, and keep going. Got that valve cracked open in there, got this hose on it, and the oil is not coming out fast. So this is gonna take a while. I did take that side panel off thinking that if I cracked the top of the reservoir, the filler hole, that it would flow a little better, but it's not. It's still going really slow. So this is gonna be a longer project. So I've emptied 4 partial buckets out of there so far and it's still draining. So I'm trying to stay busy while it's draining since it's taking a little bit. I just emptied the water separator, all the fuel out of it, so this is all empty. This one still has fuel in it, but we're gonna change the fuel filters while we're waiting on that to finish draining. We did just get the 2 new ones over there. Or we got one of the new ones, we had the other one. So we're gonna get after this now. So we got both the fuel filters off of the tractor. Got this one here. We gotta take the water separator off of this. They don't come, the new filters don't come with one. So we're gonna take this off without cracking it, breaking it, or anything like that. And put it on the new filter and put those ones in. It shouldn't take long. Should be pretty easy. So we got the oil filters in. When we turn the key, it'll prime the fuel filters. So we're not gonna do that now. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna put the sight gauge on. We got all the oil out of the reservoir tank. So there's nothing up there. Before I start filling it back up and forget to put this on, we're just gonna do it now. Pretty simple. 2 bolts, top and bottom. Take it off, put the new one on. So we're gonna get after it. I got the sight gauge changed now. A lot easier to read, a lot clearer, work a lot better. I'm gonna leave the side panel off. We're still gonna clean, so it'll help clean that back behind the tank, and we still gotta fill the hydraulic oil. I got 20 gallons worth of buckets, and that's if they're completely full, so probably 16 gallons worth of buckets there. And the book says to change or to drain the power shift transmission drain next. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find that plug. Now we're just on to plug. So once we unleash the plug, the oil will spill out, and I hope there's not more than 16 gallons at a time. So I'm under the tractor here, and these are the transmission drain plugs. This is the connector from the right side fuel tank to the left side fuel tank, and they're right directly over top of it. So if I just undid them plugs, it would go right all over this and go everywhere and make a mess. So I've made myself a funnel. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. It sticks up just like that and comes out right there. Don't know how well you guys can see this under here, but my funnel's actually working pretty good. Thanks to this fuel cleaner can, it's working. Problem's gonna be getting these buckets out of here. So I get to show you a little better now that there's the cut up fuel cleaner bottle that's acting as a pretty good funnel. Hasn't overflowed out of the cap, going into the bucket, and the full buckets are over there. Working out pretty good. So it got all the oil drained out of the reservoir, the transmission. Now we're moving on to the front axles. Should be a lot easier to get to the front and the rear. Just drop it right out. There's 3 drain plugs in the front and 3 in the back. So I don't know how much is going to come out of each one, but again, got the buckets there. I drained probably 15 gallons out of the reservoir, about 20 gallons, not quite 20 gallons out of the transmission, and I'm expecting to do about 15 to 20 out of each front and rear end. That would give us our allotted 70 roughly. So hopefully no more than 20. I will be dumping them as I go if I can, but we'll see. So as I said, this will be a lot easier. I got enough room to get a full bucket underneath each one of these drain plugs, but right there's one, right there's one, and right there's one. So this should be very simple, front and back, and this will get done a lot easier than the transmission. I got all the front drained. There was not much in there, so it didn't take long. Got everything moved to the back, and we're gonna move all the tools to the back and start draining that, and then we'll be ready to change the filters, 4 of them. I heard some of them are a nightmare. I'm under the back here. That's the middle drain plug. That one right there would be the left-hand side of the tractor, and where's it at? That one right there is the right. So this is gonna make a little bit more of a mess. We're gonna drain on some supports for the drawbar, but still shouldn't be too bad. Still should come out fairly easy. So we're gonna get after it. So I'm gonna say thank you to John Deere engineers again. This support arm here, the side rail, has to come off to get to the outside drain plugs on both sides here on the back. It kind of supports the drawbar. So made a little more work, a little more job security for myself, but there's 4 bolts in the back, 3 in the front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of them off in the back and all but 1 off in the front and pivot it down first. And then Nathan doesn't think that that'll be enough. That's heavy. I think just pivoting it down, and I got that funnel that I made up there for the transmission. I think I'm just going to funnel it over. There's not much that came out of each of these in the front, so I think I'm just going to do that rather than having to take it down and lift it back up, because I bet that's heavy. That's a thick piece of steel. But again, get after. I'm going to let you guys watch this. I took all but 1 off in the front and 1 off in the back. I don't know where I can put you. Heck, I might just hold you. What the heck? But we're going to take this one off here and see what happens. Maybe I can hold it all there. Wow. Okay. I guess we gotta loosen that front one a little bit. There we go. Makes me feel a little better. I guess I can get out of the way further up here than I can back there. But I'm guessing it'll just drop once I loosen this. Bam. Look at that. Now we can get right to the drain. Be nice. And there you go. That's how you get the funnel in there.
Okay, well, I have spent most of the morning working on designing some closet organizers and pantry shelving and stuff for our house, things that were now moved in, and like, all right, we got to get this. So I know I promised you guys last week that I would give you a walkthrough of the house. I fully intend to do so. Our carpet did not get installed over the weekend like I had thought it would. In fact, he is there finishing it up now. So the boys had a little camp out on the floor last night because their rooms were not ready, but our living room and master bedroom were. Anyway, so that's finishing up now, but now there's boxes and stuff sitting everywhere. So you're going to have to wait until we get settled and a little bit organized before I do my new house walkthrough, tour, project, cap, whatever. Yeah, so I know I have a seed truck coming at some point this afternoon, so we've got that to look forward to. And Brock you got all the oil out of this tractor, Brock? Yeah, we're halfway through an oil change here, so that's good. Oh yeah, while I'm thinking about it, so I was watching Brian's farming videos of his farm show tour, and they're getting ready to build a shop, and he was asking about workbenches a little bit, and stopped by the Storlock brand of workbenches, which just happens to be what we have. These are Storlock. We have 2 of them. I'm not sure, is that 10 foot, 12 foot, whatever they are. They're the same side by side. We really like these. We put them in here in 2012. Same time I did the LED lights in the shop, and we made some upgrades that year and stuff. But anyway, they're really nice. So Brian, Bob, BJ, if you guys are watching this, I recommend them. I like them. The drawers, these fronts get dirty, and so they require some cleaning every now and then, but they're nice that you can put labels on there and know what you've got in all of the drawers. The drawers themselves, we've never had any trouble with. They're super sturdy, no trouble. The biggest thing that I have had some trouble with is when we put stuff in initially, we didn't know exactly what we wanted or where we wanted, so we didn't always screw the dividers down. So like our bolt drawer here, we've got these really nice dividers, and they're great, and they screw down to the bottom. I guess these ones did, but there's some other drawers where we just set them in there and then they got stuff underneath them and worked up, and then occasionally you can't get a drawer to close. But other than that, they're really nice. We did modify them a little bit. They both initially came with one set here, and then the top bench would have been like in this spot. We took the thing uprights in the back off of that one, stacked it, and put the shelf up high, so we've got some high storage and more room to hang stuff, kind of like a pegboard. And then we made some brackets up and mounted this one directly to our wall, a little bit higher than what it would have been anyway. That works really nice. I also put these really nice LED lights underneath here, so we've got great lighting right on the workbench surface. We've got electric outlets wired into it. We've got air lines sort of attached to the side. They're not really part of the bench, but right on it. So yeah, I like that bench a lot.
So everywhere where there's a reservoir is drained, front, rear axles, the actual reservoir and the transmission. They do say there is a screen behind that right there. So we are going to take that off. I don't know if there's any oil that's going to be left in it, but I'm putting a bucket underneath it. We're going to take off these bolts right here and take out the screen and clean it. Now's the time, and it tells me to, so that's what we're gonna do. So that's off. I got the O-ring and the screen. Wow, that's a long screen. But we're gonna clean this and then put it back in.
So Brock is still working on this. Got all the oil out, checked the screens. Now we get to change hydraulic oil filters and transmission filters, and I think there's an axle filter on this one. It's all the same oil throughout the whole system. It's kind of like the 8R is, in that it pumps oil throughout the entire tractor, the axles, differentials, and the hydraulics, or the transmission, and all that stuff. So there is a filter down in there. She's a real fun one to get to, and it leaks all the time anyway. I don't know why, but it does. Has since new. Yeah, you might want to try and get a coffee can or something underneath there to catch the oil, maybe.
I don't think it's gonna hold 2 quarts, but.
Well, but you're not going to drain this filter.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to get that much out. Yeah, you can see it's nice and oily and dirty because, well, I don't think that filter wrench is going to work like he wants it to, but good luck.
You what?
You probably could have done that by hand. You barely even tried to try.
Well, less risk of my fingers getting smashed like they already did earlier.
Oh, well, some of us are more capable, I guess.
Who got a little sliver in their toe and cried like a little baby?
I did, that's true. I got a sliver in my foot yesterday when we were moving stuff, and it hurt.
He thought he was dying.
You gonna be able to get this?
I get paid by the hour.
Uh-huh, that's exactly right. Oh, look. We got a little oil off there. Now your strap's real oily. Okay, so that's 1 of 4. There are 4 filters on here. Yeah. You're gonna have to let that drain for a minute, but I would try and get a rag and clean up around the housing a little bit before you put the new one on. You can't spray it with water, obviously, but we can clean it up some.
Huh.
Huh, what?
It's a little dirty now.
Yeah. Oh, that oil's nice and full. Well, this will be fun to get out of there. The rest of the hydraulic oil filters are up here under the front. One of them is sideways, which means it drains off nice and easy. The other 2 are also vertical and a pain in the butt. You probably could punch a hole in the bottom of these and get them to drain out, Brock.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I think I would do that. They are all the same filter, all the same part number. So speaking of that, you know what else I need to do? Oh gosh, I need to go make up my filter list. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna place an oil or a annual filter restock. Yeah.
So I got the 2 filters draining, and I got that third, the horizontal one off. I'm gonna put this one on. The good thing about all these hydraulic and transmission filters, they're all the same filter. So I don't have to worry about putting the right one in the right place or messing up with the wrong one in the wrong place. But the other 2 are gonna take a little bit to drain. So we're gonna work on this one.
Did that work for you? Yep, that's less messy. Okay, so I have updated my filter list. So on this spreadsheet, I have all of the equipment that we have. I updated it with the new combine and all of the filters. So I have on here the part numbers and what the filter is for and how many are on each machine so that I know what we need to have. Now we're going to come up here and take inventory. And as you can see, the shelves are rather bare, especially in the middle, which is where the equipment that we actually use and stuff we have serviced is from. So I always try and have a year's supply of filters on hand, basically one of everything, so that we have them here and ready and I don't have to wait for them next year when we want to change stuff. Plus they have a sale in February and they're like 10% off or something right now. So the stuff that's left over here, we've got stuff for the 4020, 4440, 8300, obviously, because we didn't have to change anything on that this year. So that stuff we're not going to get more of, because if we bring those tractors in and change filters and stuff, they need it this year. They likely won't need done next year, and if they do, it'll be after February before we get to them. So we do have some stuff for the sprayer over here. Same type of deal. Obviously, we're going to use those, but I don't think it's necessary to have extras on hand, because even if we should need to change something in season, there are multiples from other equipment that we're going to get replacements. So yeah, anyway, that's all good. So I'll take some inventory of what we've got, and then we'll know what we need to order.
Well, there you have it. All the filters are changed. The 4 hydraulic, the 2 fuel. Almost everything's picked up other than that bucket. It's got a little oil in it. Next up is to put oil in it. This is going to take a while. It needs around 70 gallons of oil, I think just over. So that pump's going to get its work out. That high guard John Deere oil up there, I think Nathan said he got 200 gallons of it, and it's just over half full. So we're going to suck it down quite a bit. But this tractor takes a lot. It runs the transmission, both front and rear, axles, and all the hydraulics.
Okay, I've got notations of everything that we've got. I also pulled the 8300 filters that we don't use on anything else out and set them off to the side. A few of them, the engine, oil, and fuel filters, we can use on either the 4440 or our generator. One of our generators uses them. So the other ones I think we can take back, or maybe I'll send them with a tractor. I don't know. So after I take inventory, I go in and update my spreadsheet, tell it what I have on hand, and then I went through and made sure that all of the filters were on page 2 of that spreadsheet, which is printing right now, and I'll show you in a second. And that is my list there. So those are all the part numbers and what type of filter they are, along with how many we use total across all the equipment, how many we have on hand, and therefore the last column, what I need to order. So we'll get to that in a minute. Brock needs help. So Brock says we're ready to put hydraulic oil back in this tractor, which is good. It's going to take a lot. How many gallons, Brock?
Too many. There's multiple steps that it says you have to fill the transmission with 10 gallons before you can fill the reservoir, so it doesn't give a, well,
70.
I think it's 70. But
It's around 70. All right, so now here's our issue. And I know you guys are going to give me crap about this, but we're going to talk about it anyway. We have a nice relatively full 200-gallon tank of High Guard up there. It is a hose. It comes down here. It comes down. It comes down. It says hydraulic oil because it's hydraulic oil. And we have a valve that's off. Now, if you look here, we have another valve that's on with engine oil in it. That means the last thing we pumped through there was engine oil for this tractor. We know that. We need hydraulic oil, not engine oil. So we close this valve. We open this valve. Okay. Now, problem is we've got engine oil all through here, through our pump, through that hose, and that whole hose reel. You know how much oil's in that hose? I do. 2 quarts. 2 quarts. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to put it right there in that bucket, and we're going to run it, and we're going to flush that hose out. I know, have 2 separate pump systems. This pump system and reel is $1,000. This little bit of oil cost me $10. So we're just going to do it this way. And I know it's dangerous, and somebody might make a mistake, but guess what? It's me and Brock that do it. We'll be fine. I can almost guarantee you'll be able to see the color difference and the way it flows different out of that nozzle once it changes. I can see it. See how it's starting to spread apart there? All right, now we're good. That's hydraulic oil. There you go. That's how much oil it takes to change over. I know it's a waste, but it's such a minor cost compared to what a separate system would do and everything that would be that it's just that's how we're doing it. So all right, Brock's gonna pump some oil into the tractor in there. There's a fill port right there for hydraulic oil, which is where you would normally put oil and add oil and everything.
Directly into the transmission.
What?
This goes directly into the transmission.
Into the transmission, yeah. There is, however, the hydraulic oil reservoir up here, and there is a fill cap on it. That cap is normally covered up by that shield, but when you change the oil, you've got to pump some in there too, right? Is that the next place?
What?
Up here? Probably. Got to read the book. All right, so that's going to take quite some time to pump. Even the 10 gallons is going to take a while, and then he's got to put 26 or something into that reservoir, run the tractor, let it circulate through, and then just keep pumping until you get to 60 something, I think maybe is what we're shooting for, but until it's full, and it says that it's full, basically. So anyway, I am going to go run and grab some lunch, something to eat real quick. We'll let Brock keep working. I offered to let him go to lunch. He said he wasn't hungry. Don't give me that.
So I just finished putting 10 gallons in the transmission like it says. Now we're gonna go up here and fill the reservoir, or start filling the reservoir. It takes 60 gallons to fill that and fill both of the axles, which is 242 quarts. So I did some math when we were filling the transmission, and this pump pumps at 1 quart every 11.2 seconds. So this is going to be a while. So I've been pumping for a half an hour, and the reservoir is full. Yes, I filled it too full. If it was the last time filling it, it's right at full hot, but I know that we are way off of being full for the entire tractor. We're only about halfway. We have 163 quarts and we need 282. So maybe a little more than halfway, but it's still gonna draw that down in the reservoir a lot. So I'm gonna take this out for now, and I'm gonna put the cap back on it, and then we're gonna start the tractor, see how much that goes down, and keep this process going until the oil level stabilizes and everything's full. But we still got more pumping to do. So another thing that's gonna happen, or I have to do, is just turn the key and let it prime, because I gotta prime the fuel filters. They do it on a vacuum, so the drain has to be tight so it doesn't leak out, which it is. And I'm just gonna get up there, turn the key, let that prime for a little bit, and then we're going to see how fast this goes down. I'm gonna let you guys watch. I don't know if you can see the difference, but There you are. See how it's dropping pretty quick. It's pulling all the oil out of the reservoir and taking it to the front and rear axles and filling all the hoses and everything and the filters that might have been drained with all the oil that we drained. But it's going down pretty quick, so that's good. When it starts to slow down or gets down to here, I'll get back up in the tractor and shut it off. But it's doing exactly what it should. I don't know if you guys heard that noise when I first started it up, but that was the pumps. When they didn't have any oil in them, they make quite the noise.
Well, here is our filter order for the year. They're not cheap, but you can see most of them are on sale. They've got a crossed off price and another one. I don't know why this one doesn't, this one doesn't. There's a few that don't, but no big deal. Our dealer has a fair amount. These ones that say order, I mean that they don't have them in our local location, and then this column is how many they have throughout their entire system. So there's only a couple that they don't have somewhere, and I wonder if some of those didn't sub to a new number or something, but we'll submit this total. $4,300 filters just to keep our equipment running for a year. Yee.
So, well, you can see we're back filled up between the minimum cold and the maximum or the full cold. There's bubbles coming up through here. I'm guessing it's gonna settle out a little bit, but we're gonna start this tractor up, see how much it goes down. If it doesn't go down, we might have to drive it forward and back a little bit to get the oil pulled into the axles. I think that's what it needs left. We need to put about 80 more quarts in, so quite a bit left. So we need to figure out where the room's at, whether it's in the reservoir and just needs to settle down, or in the front and rear axle. I started it up again, and it still hasn't came down to where I think it should be for having to put 20 more gallons into it. So I'm gonna get up in the tractor. I'm just gonna drive it forward and back. I only have a couple feet in here, but that should get the oil moving around in the axles. I'll turn it, get the oil moving around in the steering cylinders there, and hopefully we can make some more room. So that is up to the full cold mark. As you can see, it's a little lighter right in there. There's still some air in there. It's gonna take a little bit for it to work out, and it might settle down to just below that, but we're still in the good as far as between the minimum cold and the full cold. I got a little worried. We're 20 gallons short of putting oil in it. I understand we're not gonna get all of it out of it, but I figured we'd get a little more than 20 gallons, you know, as far as leaving in the tractor. I didn't think we'd leave that much in there, but it says check the oil level after 10 hours, so we will just keep an eye on that. I'm gonna clean up there before we put the cover back on. While it's off, might as well, and just wash everything down right there. And then I'm gonna go work on the backhoe. We got that new switch for the windshield wipers, so I'm gonna go put that in. But first, clean up this mess, put the shield back on, and I'll get back with you.
See, the nice thing about taking side shields off of tractors is it lets you get in there to clean it up real nice, doesn't it, Brock?
Yeah.
Look, you need some more oil. It's low.
Cold.
Oh yeah, I suppose it is cold. Brock was complaining that it only took 50 some gallons and not 60 or 70 like we thought it would. So we're debating whether we've got all the lines and cavities filled or if it's going to keep pumping some through, and we're just going to have to keep adding as we go, I think. But it's good enough for now. We can run it. So what we need to do now is finish cleaning it up. We need to clean the cab out and get that done inside, and then power wash the outside and shine it a little bit. But then it's got to go up to the John Deere dealer because we've got that oil in the coolant issue. And I talked about that the other day where they've got to replace the head bolts. And it's a big job, but it's not as big as pulling all the stuff off the top of the engine to replace the head gasket and pull the head off. So anyway, they're going to do that. I'm still waiting to hear back from them on cost and what Deere's going to cover versus what's our portion of it and everything. But point being, it's got to go up there. It's February. The roads are crappy, so we got to pick our day, and it's probably going to get dirty on the way there and back, and we're going to have to clean it again when it gets back, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now my next project. You guys hear that? That fan is it's going bad. If I tap on it, it's good for a minute. And of course, the time I film it, it doesn't come back. But eventually, it's going to come back and start vibrating again. I think the motor bearings are going bad or something. So we're going to shut it down, take it out to the bench, take this cover off the side here, and see what we can figure out. Every so often, we got to do a little dusting on this anyway. Ooh. Well, I'm pretty sure that fan's going bad because this one here spins nice and smooth, but anytime I try that with this one, can you hear it? Yeah. It's wiggly. So is that one, but one of them spins smooth, one doesn't. So I'm going to look up the numbers on there, see if I can order that fan. So I'm working on this computer, right? Because I am too cheap to hire somebody. I don't know if you guys have figured it out about me yet, but I will attempt to fix anything because I am too cheap to hire somebody. And Brock comes over and says, I was pretty much the leader of SWAT in high school. You want me to do it? So what are you talking about, Brock? What are you talking about?
Students working to advance technology.
So basically, Brock's telling me he's a computer expert, and he knows how to fix this. I did look. This fan is, I mean, it's the thing. You can search for it. I found it, but not exactly available. However, I would guess there's a pretty equivalent replacement readily available. We just have to figure out what size and how to do that exactly. So, yep. By all means, if you want to take care of this for me, I'll let you.
Absolutely.
We're gonna take this fan out, and I don't know. We'll see. Well, this thing is fancy. Got a, yeah, it's like a magnet. There's no bearing in it. It's got a magnetic ring. The motor, I would call it the rotor, is in the center. And then it's got, yeah, the windings out here. I don't really know. I don't know what was causing it to vibrate and shake other than maybe the dust that's on it. But I got it apart. I've probably essentially assured that it's broken. Because I don't know if it's going to go back together or ever work again. But it was already broken. I didn't break it. I assured that it would no longer be used. That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
Yep.
Right. Of course, there is another scenario that instead of breaking it, I fixed it. So we put it all back together. And it didn't make that noise when I just spun it with my finger. But it does now. We didn't fix it right.
Oh, I didn't think you did.
All right. So now I know what I need to know off of there, and we can order a new one. I should have just unplugged that so it's not making noise. I'm sure it'd be fine without one fan for a while. Turns out Amazon sells fans for 13 bucks. Hard to beat that. Can you see him back there? Brock had to go. He's off. And I have a seed truck to unload, so we're gonna do that. Okay, well, Brock got done with that tractor and he had to go home because he's got to work tonight. I got that seed truck unloaded. We got My washer and dryer moved in. Brock helped me with that before he had to leave real quick. One more thing that I need to get done down there at the house. I don't have any stone or enough stone in front of my garage door to be able to drive a vehicle in it. And right now we have too much stuff in our garage to park a vehicle in it. But pretty soon that's not going to be the case. And today it happens to be like 55 degrees and it rained. And my stone pile over there is thawed out enough that I can scoop some of it up. So we're going to get the backhoe out. We're going to take a couple bucket loads of stone down, enough to get a ramp built up, graded off in front of the driveway. We really need a bunch of stone in the driveway because it's a muddy mess right now. But that's probably going to have to wait till spring. So we're just going to make it usable. It's a little on the humid side today. That'll work. Okay, so the stone pile is still mostly frozen, but I've gotten 2 bucket loads off of it, and that'll be enough. Well, for what I could do with 2 bucket loads of stone, that's not too bad. And you can see our pile of junk that we have to figure out what to do with. I shouldn't say junk. It's not all junk. My kids' clothes are in there. Their dresser drawers. We're gonna get those put away tonight. Okay, I think I'm going home. We got enough done for today. It's a little after 5. I saw my wife just came home. Convenient, living next to the farm, and she was getting groceries, and then we're gonna go back to the old house to get some stuff out today. So tomorrow we've got a meeting with our crop insurance agent in the morning, so I've got to do that, and I won't be able to film anything. But then we're gonna work on this tractor. I think we gotta clean yet. That's what we got to do: wash it and clean it and grease it. So that's tomorrow's plan. Thanks for watching, everybody. Questions and comments, leave them down below, and hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you tomorrow.